Hello, Hedgelings. Today I have picked a book to read. This is a particular book that I got from the library many moons ago when I was quite younger. I used to get books for sale in the library when I was quite young, and I don't know why, but this particular book, especially when I was younger, kind of really spoke to me. It had a bit of a message to tell, and it did it in an interesting way. There are pictures in here, but I can't obviously show them, but I thought it would be something different to kind of show a little bit of gameplay that I've done while reading this book. And the book that I have chosen is called What Difference Does It Make, Danny? It's by Helen Young, and the images inside of it are by Quentin Blake. And this one is published by Fontana Young Lions. I'm going to read the inside of the book here, just because there's a little part before the story starts. So it's What Difference Does It Make, Danny? Danny Blaine's name cropped up in a conversation between two teachers. "He doesn't look like an epileptic, does he?" commented one. "What do you expect?" came the answer. "Holmes, he doesn't look like the devil either, but he can be." That was the point. Danny was a perfectly ordinary boy, rather better at sports than most, but unlike most, he had epilepsy. It didn't bother him in any way until he came across a teacher who was frightened of it, and banned Danny from swimming from using all equipment he enjoyed most in the gym. Danny retaliated by becoming, briefly, the naughtiest boy in the school, until his problem was solved for him in a completely unexpected and dramatic way. Everyday children tackle handicaps far greater than Danny's, but will nevertheless get most out of life if expected and encouraged to do so. Also in the book here it says that it is written for Emily. Alright, and we're going to begin chapter 1. That year, the most eventful of Danny Blaine's life, the school went to the country for sports day. At least it seemed like the country to the busloads of children. Their destination was the large estate about 25 miles from their school. After heats run on concrete playgrounds, the grass of vast parkland was like a cushioned velvet to their feet. Alongside the mown tracks, which teachers had condoned off for the day before with stakes and tapes, the grass grew high and wild, and beyond the children could see a river. They stood in uncertain little groups when they left the coaches until suddenly a sense of freedom spread amongst them, like an outbreak of spring fever. Some turned cartwheels, some tried to. Game of chase sprang up and led nowhere as children leaped joyfully into the air on top of each other, or simply flung themselves on the bouncy, welcoming grass. The head teacher let them enjoy it for as long as possible before calling everyone to order. Good-natured staff, seeming somehow younger and more human in this setting, herded children into lines and Miss North, the headmistress, smiled sympathetically. The sun was high and a clean green smell wafted around them. She could imagine how difficult it was to stand in disciplined queues listening to a lecture, but she wanted to remind them they were still under school rules. They had heard it all before, of course. The grievous sin was litter dropping and wild flowers were not for picking. Tracy Smith, who had gathered a wispy bunch of buttercups in yarrow, blushed hot and tried to hide her bouquet behind her skimpy back. With a presence of mind, her friend Eliza snatched it and presented it with great charm to Miss North. With an exaggerated, shocked look followed by a warning frown and finally a smiling at such daring Miss North accepted the offering and the children laughed. Parents who had come to help were spreading clothes on the ground a little distance away from the marvelous picnic, which would follow the races. They looked up at the laughter to see what their joke was. Miss North was merciful and kept her talk short. She reminded them that it was a privilege to be invited, what was considered good behaviour, and what was most certainly was not. Feet shifted in the lines and children adopted a virtuous look to speed the end of the ceremony. "And keep away from the river," she ended up, "until it is time for the picnic." Frantic whispering broke out in Miss Pringle's group of 8 and 9-year-olds. These were Pringle's pets, the class Miss North regarded as spirited, known occasionally to the rest of the staff as Pringle's pets. Miss Pringle, who taught that age group from choice and always regarded her class as the best in the school, usually referred to them as my little horrors. "You ask Danny," hissed a boy named Billy Caster, who had a reason of his own connected with regular uncomfortable visits to Miss North's office for not wanting to draw attention to himself. Danny didn't mind. He thrust up a hand. "Miss, can we swim, miss?" asked Danny, and a traditional chorus of encouragement swelled from all the ranks. "Miss, miss, miss." "We've brought our swimming things, miss," called Danny, and the solstice. "Sir, and I've forgotten mine," one small child wailed, echoed by several others. "Good. One or two less to keep an eye on," muttered an unsympathetic teacher who was not sure it was a good idea to let the whole school loose in a river, however shallow and slow-moving it was. "Can we, miss?" persisted Danny. Some of you can," said Miss North, who was very keen on the difference between can and may, and never forgot she was a teacher, and standing in the middle of the field. "Whether or not you may depends on how well you all behave during sports." Well skilled at interpreting Miss North, the children took this to mean almost certainly yes, and looked at each other hopefully. Miss North smiled indulgently and dismissed them to run to their groups to start the races. Danny had discussed his chances before leaving home that morning. "Will you bring home a medal?" his father asked. "Not unless Wayne runs backwards and Billy stays at home," he answered cheerfully. He was not pessimistic, but he was realistic. And for once they could all believe that they were told each year that it did not matter if they won or lost. Taking part was pure pleasure in such a place. Daddy remembered the hot thudding of the hot heats and felt he could run barefoot along these welcoming tracks. Better times were cloaked up for those races than ever recorded in the history of the school. The games master noticed the times in the leather-bound book and felt a slightly sad pride. He was too retired at the end of the term, and these were his last sports. "Look at them," he said to a new teacher who was helping him with the events. "Winged ruddy colts, aren't they? If they'd run like that on the football pitch, I'd have the Junior League Cup on my mantelpiece. Some of those lads would do anything to get out of the football." "Sir, I've lost a boot. Sir, I've forgotten a strip." That Danny Blaine even had a fit once, rather than play. The new teacher looked a little startled, and the games master laughed. "Well, that's what I said to him afterwards anyway. Just my little joke. Danny didn't mind." You mean he really had a fit? The new teacher still looked as though he thought it a joke in poor taste. Oh yes, he's quite liable to that, is Danny? Not deliberately, of course. And he hasn't had one since, come to think of it. It's well under control in his case. You mean he's an epileptic? Said the teacher, surprised. You better not let Danny hear you say that. He'll tell you that's old-fashioned. He has epilepsy. He'll tell you, not that it bothers him much, I must say. The new teacher looked at Danny in fascination. He doesn't look like an epileptic, does he? He said. He looked a little impatient. What did you expect? He asked. Horns? He doesn't look like a little devil either, but he can play. And he's not going to win this race by the looks of it. Wayne Dunstan had spread past Danny to win the 100 yards. Billy triumphed in the obstacle race. Just when Danny thought he had the spoon and potatoes sewn up, Wayne, with a comical rolling gait he'd copied from long-distance walkers, rollicked past him. In the end, Danny had 3 second prizes to collect, and a lady who had come to present them had begun to smile when his name was called. You're a good loser, she commented, when he came up beaming for the 3rd time. The children had no curiosity about her identity, but she was the owner of the land and liked to invite the children to enjoy it. Danny shrugged. I'm not the best at running, he said philosophically. What are you best at? The lady asked. Or are you too modest to say? I'm going to end this one here. Thank you so much for both watching and listening, or if you were just listening. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, waddle over to the like button and slap the subscribe to become a hatchling. And I will hopefully see you all in a wingspan. Bye.